everybody. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Board of Education to order. It is Tuesday, March 4th, 6 p.m. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? This will be interesting. Okay. Give us a minute. Mr. Listro, would you lead us, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Asia, will you call the roll?
Absolutely. President Barbara Marino.
Here.
Vice President Diana Reyes.
Here.
Secretary Anthony Kane with the C.
Yo.
Mr. Salvador Escobar.
We in here?
Mr. Anthony Kane with the K.
Here.
Mr. Joseph Listro.
Here.
Ms. Amy Parker.
Here.
Ms. Joan Pino.
Here.
Mr. Jose Rivera.
Here.
And Ms. Tina Santana.
She is on her way. All right, I'd like just to call for a moment of meditation. I don't know about all of you, but I could use it right about now. Just a little moment of peace and quiet. Give it up to whoever and whatever you want. Thank you. Public participation. No one signed up for public participation, but I'll put it out there if anybody is interested to speak, has anything they want to present to the board. Going once, going twice, going thrice. All righty, moving on. Sir, superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Britain High School. Thank you to Mr. Pierce and his staff and his students for the preparation. As we've done at the other sites, we've had student performances. You should have been greeted by one as you came in, rather than challenging our eardrums here inside. It was wonderful to be greeted by the band and the majors outside. Wonderful, wonderful display. You should also, if you have not already, take note of the really wonderful artwork here in the room with us and just outside. Really, really a lot of work to be proud of in all facets to things that are happening here at the high school. So thank you, Mr. Pierce, and your staff and students for the preparation. We're going to begin with a brief talk about, I know, a topic that is of interest to board members and to the public. I've asked Ms. Whitehead and Ms. Major to join us tonight, and they're going to give us an update about how the Yonder pouches have been going at their two middle schools. So you can use the podium, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Principal, Pulaski Middle School. Thank you for having me.
She's hiding.
So as Pulaski Middle School rolled out the Yonder pouches earlier this year, we saw not too much of a backlash. We saw our students embrace it. Within the first couple of weeks, to be honest, we had 6% of our Yonder pouches that looked to have been damaged and or lost. And that's with a total of over 900 students. That's amazing. Our students fell in line. They see the value in the Yonder pouches. As of right now, I can say that our teachers will tell you they are teaching. The cell phones have been put away. Whether we see our students holding their Yonder pouch or they're putting them in their lockers, they're definitely not in the classroom. We see our students interacting with one another, engaging in conversation that's meaningful to their academics, and most importantly, I'm a little selfish, they're actually talking to me as opposed to, Ms. Whitehead, it's drama, let me tell you what happened. So we want to say that the Yonder pouches are working here in Pulaski. I do want to say that we did have a total of 81 in the entire school of pouches. So
81 damaged. Okay.
That's it. So I think it's amazing, it's working. My kids are embracing it. More importantly, my parents have been fabulous with it. I will tell you, I had one parent come today to pick up their student's cell phone. So with our community engaging this and our students embracing it, Pulaski's culture, climate, our school altogether has improved. I do want to say on behalf of my staff, it is a lot of work. But we're also saying it's worth it. So we're putting in the hard work and it's paying off. I'm gonna quote one teacher, and by this it was, we're consistent and we're showing that we're a team. And because we're doing it, it's been a big improvement. It's great building wide. The vibe is 100% improved. And the drama that has reduced with the cell phones being away allows us to teach. So.
That's good. Very good. Thank you. Ms. Major?
Yes, I will first thank the board for having us tonight. I second a lot of what Ms. Whitehead has said. I do want to add that I think a lot of the success that we've both seen has a lot to do with the preparation. We took a lot of time to make sure that our students were ready, our families were ready, our staff was ready, everything was ready to go on the 7th, and it just kind of was this seamless transition from there. Similar to Pulaski, we had slight uptick in students trying to test the durability, as I call it, of the pouches. But we have seen a drastic decline to really no issues at all at this point with the damaging or trying to open them or anything like that. We've had, from the start, for January and February, we've had 58 parent pickups. So considering we have over 800 students, not bad in 2 months, only 58, which means, what that means is that a student was caught with a phone one time, and then another time after that, it's a parent pickup. Parents are coming to get the phones. That was another kind of misconception before, was can we really follow through on this? Will parents come and get them? Will they say, no, I can't come? Parents are there, they want to support this as well, so that's been really positive. Last pieces, and I thought this was the best, is she shared some student testimonies. One girl actually, at the end of the day, came into the, we call the fishbowl, the area outside my office, and said, I feel so popular at the end of the day. I get my phone at the end of the day, I get out of the pouch, I have all these text messages, I have snaps, all these people that want to talk to me. So that's been a positive. And a lot of students who in the beginning have said to staff and to different people who come to find out how the pouches are going. In the beginning I said I wasn't going to do this, I wasn't following this, but even now I see I can actually concentrate more, I can focus more. And some of them are even noticing that they're talking to each other more. So all in all, it's been a really, really smooth transition for both of us.
Thank you. Any questions from board members?
I just have one. What happens when they're damaged? Do they have to pay for it? Or?
So they do. So the first pouch is $10, and then after that it's $22.50. Yeah, $22.50. We haven't had anyone get to a second pouch. And also similar to parent pickup, parents are there the next day. $10, here you go. I apologize, student apologizes, and then they get the new pouch. So that's been really, really supportive as well. Yes.
I'm actually kind of jealous because my school is one of the first in the state that we adopted Yonder. And I'm actually kind of jealous because when I mentioned, I heard the first numbers from the first week from Dr. Gasper, how you guys were doing along. I brought it up to our administration. They didn't believe me. They had, well, you guys were doing it. I'm going to go back and count tomorrow, 81, since you guys rolled it out. And that's actually should be applauded. How has been the discipline? We've mentioned how things are going better. Because we had a 77% drop in our discipline issues after Yonder pouches rolled out. Because kids weren't texting each other, meet me in the bathroom, or video filming fights and starting it out. How has discipline been going along?
So I think two things. One, I think it's still a little early to have like definitive hardcore, like this is quantitative numbers to show like a solid decline. But just in the data that we've gone over with Tyrone, Mr. Richardson, you can see a trend as far as for cell phone infractions and cell phone misuse. Anecdotally, I can tell you that what we're not seeing, and actually Heather was just mentioning this to me earlier, we're not seeing the, oh, so-and-so said this, or look at what this person said, or I need to talk to them, or I'm gonna, we're not having a lot of that high energy kind of drama from the phone. I don't have any hardcore, like, quantitative data. I don't know if you do, you might.
Well, since the Yonder rollout, we did have the violations and we count that, so that was 181 cell phone violations. And so now they understand, the board backed us, this is what we're doing moving forward. Our expectations for us are to come to school and learn, cell phones away. Our students have steadily declined in that department, so our behavior is improving. but as Carolyn said, we need to give you some more data.
Yeah, it's only been a couple months, so
It's
as
only
far as
been-
that.
And it was-
It's kind of crazy, it's only been when I was thinking about that, it's only been 2 months.
The stories I love to hear, the stories I always love to hear too are the kids, because you meant, the kids, they'll try anything to break open those pouches. And my
Yes.
favorite ones are the kids who take the pouches and hammer and try to break it open and end up smashing their phones in the process. Oh, yeah, they've done it.
Yes.
And that they have it tapered.
Couple, yeah.
And if you go on Amazon, you could buy the magnet. And what kids don't realize, if they don't buy the right one, it will not just damage the phone, it'll erase the phone if they buy the wrong one. So yeah, the kids will try anything, but yeah, the Yonder pouches have been great thing, and I love the fact that more and more schools are doing
And
it.
even just doing like informals or formals or like state walkthroughs, things like that, there's no phones in the classroom. I mean,
Yeah.
our Amanda from the state mentioned that at least on our last 2 walkthroughs, just the difference of before break to now. They're not hiding them, they don't have like this, you know, it's just everyone's
Engaged.
Well, we had I went with you guys through your walkthrough. I remember having the conversation about how creative the students were being, and if they'd apply that creativity, always that would be,
Yeah, I can always tell when a kid is trying to hide, broke from their Yonder pouch, like, your lap does not look that impressive when you stare down at it the whole time.
I'm glad that it's working. I will say I was a little worried about parents, because parents become codependent on the phones and kind of go over the teachers and administrators and trusting that they're there to do a job and protect their children as well. So I'm glad to hear that the parents are actually working together with you as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing the data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an incident a few years ago in my school where we had a serious issue going on, and because it was just before we rolled out Yonder, and because the kids were calling their parents, it made the situation worse. So that was one of the reasons why we rolled out Yonder pouches. So whenever a parent says, "Well, I can't contact my kids," I bring that up to them. It's better to get the story. There's a reason why we have the controlled narrative about when an incident happens. It's not that Dr. Gasper is keeping information from you. It's because we want to make sure that situation's for safety.
And we have students sometimes throughout the day accessing the main office phone. So I think that was good for parents to see too, that we followed through on something.
Yeah.
We said, like, listen, your child will still have access to you. There's just other ways for them to access you than through their phone.
And how'd they call the kids when they were, when we were in school? They didn't
Through
have,
the office.
yeah.
Well, our parents didn't call us, they go learn, right, yeah.
Well, thank you to you both.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
We'll continue on with the superintendent's report. As always, you have this month's beautiful edition of the dispatch in front of you. Just some highlights there. Turning in really nice recognition at De Loretto School under the Building the Beacon column. We are seeing our mid-year data starting to come in across multiple metrics. Some ups, some downs, and some very notable ups. So we'll look forward to tracking that and keeping the board up to date. Really nice art installation and project happening at Pulaski. You'll find a story about that there. Really nice article entitled Celebrating Unity and Creativity. And then, I don't know how I didn't get an invite to this. We had a safari at Gaffney School. I think we need to make sure the superintendent gets invited to such safaris and really neat activity happening there. Want to make sure that all of our parents and residents who are watching know that kindergarten registration is open. It really helps us to have registration happen as early as possible. And I don't typically take you through kind of the last few pages, but there's some really nice social media stories of note if you go through kind of the last pages there. It was nice that a podcast called The Efficacious Educator featured some of our administrators here at the high school about having a more welcoming and controlled beginning of the day. An alumna really to be proud of, a young lady, Danya Absolani, is now a graduate and is a graduate of New Britain High School in 2020, a graduate of UConn in 24, is having success in astronomy. Really nice story there. Smalley, congratulations to Smalley for donating $2,000 for breast cancer research, and a really nice story about Gaffney and Black History Month. And finally, as we just heard, doing some really nice implementations, this time with the See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting, a project overseen by Mr. Richardson. We are now being asked to be a role model by this national organization of other districts that are implementing that in the area. So thank you to Mr. Richardson and really all of the school administrators and staff who participated in that. And finally, March is Board of Education Member Appreciation Month. So every year, board members, volunteers, unpaid volunteers, dedicate hundreds of hours of their time to serving on this Board of Education and others. So on behalf of the students, the teachers, the families, and of course the staff, thank you board members for what you do. And we had a small token of our appreciation for you tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's my report for this evening, Madam President.
All right, thank you, sir. Committee reports. We'll start with policy.
We have one item on the agenda after we met, some changes that have been made updating the policy on IEPs.
Finance.
We met, this would have been last Monday. We discussed a couple donations, which are always my favorite things, but we also did some contract renegotiations. Some of them were simple renewals of existing contracts, but we also had a few new purchases, new furniture for some of our schools, so Pulaski, as well as some, we put a new policy, new line item to allow any leftover funds the district may have, which years like this probably won't have, allow the district to put some percentage of money aside for emergencies for next year.
All right. Personnel.
I met on the same day, in and above the regular fare, exit data and vacancy list stuff. We had the discussion around the job description for the district supervisor, special education, specialized programs.
Thank you. And curriculum.
We met 2 weeks ago, and on the agenda tonight is the social studies curriculum grades 6 through 12.
Okay. Board reports. Anybody? Yes.
I did go to the city's Black History Month award, and 3 of our family members, Zine and Miss Parker, and Dr. Sanders were all honored. So it was really nice to see some of our people being honored.
Any of us? Yes.
I'm sorry, I know I just walked in, but had to carry my coffee slowly. I wanted to thank the Pulaski family for this wonderful article that is in the New Britain Herald, actually just shouting out how they make culture at the forefront with their students and really just being able to share. And it's funny because the article starts off with a group of students. That says a lot. These students are really driving it home and working with the staff and being such an integral part. So I'm just saying, this is the New Britain Herald, February 27th. If anybody needs a copy, let me know. I got a hookup at the Herald, and I'll get you one. So things like this is what should be featured in our district dispatch. Just saying that this wonderful thing. Okay, thank you. Oh, and I attended the same thing with Diana too. So we had a really fun time there. Nice trays of food, but it was really good, and they had coffee.
And
All right.
Madam President?
Yep.
I just wanted to say too, thank you for the band members for the welcome in. As a neighbor, I will be completely honest, when I first moved to the neighborhood, I was not a fan of the rehearsals for the band. Especially, Sunday mornings, trying to sleep in, hearing the marching band. It was not a good wake up. But then COVID hit. It began to me to become a sign that when I started hearing the marching band play, that was a sign to me that we were getting back to normal. And I have since become a huge fan of the band. Whenever I hear the marching band play, I'll go outside of my patio and listen in. I love hearing them perform. So when coming in, I liked hearing that welcome coming in this morning. And then coming into the lecture hall and seeing the beautiful artwork on display over there and looking over how talented the kids are. When you talk about really emphasizing how great our kids are. I haven't looked at the tags yet, but I presume they're all probably New Britain High students. And the talent that this school has, this is something we got to advertise. People talk about, well, why are you going to New Britain schools? This is why we come to New Britain schools. The kids we had out there playing, and then the kids we see right here on display here, that's what New Britain High has to offer. So we have to promote that more. So really, the kids did a great job tonight.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yes.
Just to add on to Mr. Kane's, what he just said, I'd like to second that. Our department, apparently, we heard in curriculum, I believe, last month that, I think it was curriculum, that almost every kid who takes the AP exam passes with 4s and 5s. And they have a lot of opportunities for those kids, and very impressive artwork throughout the school. And the band actually just came back along with the orchestra from Florida. They had a successful, awesome parade down there a couple weeks ago, and they'll be performing St. Patrick's Day Parade in Hartford. They were Best in Show last year, and that's on the 15th, week from this Saturday.
Come out, support, that'll be fun.
Anybody else? The only one thing I wanted to bring up is I saw on social media that Kate's had her sessions, started her committee regarding the food service. How many people showed up?
5.
5. Okay. We're doing the work, and we heard, and we listened, and we're doing our thing. With all of the keyboard warriors, I would have thought we'd have a little bit more participation than 5, but
Absolutely.
The fact that you made it
we'll
out.
take that as it is and just, go from there. But kudos to Kate. I appreciate the work that she's doing, absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, student representatives report.
We would just like to bring up we've been seeing a lot of positive things happen over the district, like everybody was really saying. And recently we had a Black History Assembly. I think that went pretty successfully here, and it brought a lot of light to the importance of Black education and just education in general that the students really I think needed to hear. And I was actually surprised. I was a part of it. I'm president of African American Club, so I was actually surprised to see that the audience and the students were actually very engaged and they were being very respectful, which is kind of crazy to say that I was surprised to see that, but
That's a good thing. It's okay.
exactly. So, and other than that, I mean, I don't know. I think people the students and teachers and staff and stuff is getting to be more on a positive note, seeing that it's getting warmer outside soon and it's almost towards the end of the year. So.
Vacation's coming and
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what she said. There is kind of not really been any major thing to report on. It's just mostly we've seen a lot of improvements, and with the Black History Month Assembly, just positive things here at New High.
That's good.
great.
Thank you both.
Awesome. All right. So moving on to section 3, need a motion to go into executive session to review workers' compensation settlement with Attorney Eric Bartlett. And I'd be asking the board, Attorney Bartlett, Ms. Manning, and Dr. Gasper to
So
join
moved.
us.
So moved.
Second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to section 4, need a motion to approve minutes from the regular meeting of February 3rd.
Motion?
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments, changes? Mr. Kane, your name is spelled correctly?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We're going to find a new and inventive misspelling each month.
There you go.
K-A-I-N-E.
Just thought I should check to be safe.
I don't think I've seen Y incorporated yet.
Alrighty, if no questions or changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Report of personnel transactions and extracurricular appointments. appointments. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're good. And then for informational is the enrollment report.
We continue to trend up. Notably, the high school has dipped back down below 2,500. Mr. Pierce, I believe I heard you predict that in a PD session where I think you at that point you said October and November tend to be the peak for enrollment at the high school. Correct. Well, as we have budget talks continuing with the city, I just wanted to make a point that enrollment continues to be up.
Why would we have like a valley like that and peak in November and then start heading down? Because kids transfer out to schools?
Correct,
and
it's students
schools?
moving into and out of the district.
Alrighty. Item D. Need a motion to review board policy
Motion to accept.
and
please.
motion to accept board policy 6159, individualized education programs.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One opposed. Okay, moving on to E. Motion to accept job description of the district supervisor of special education, special ed programs.
Motion.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We've got one. Okay. Thank you. All right, motion to accept draft calendar for the 25-26, we're talking about the next year's calendar, right? 25 to 26 academic year calendar.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
I was going through the days off and just to understand the color coding of it. Are we giving the kids LE'd off again this year?
That is correct. Yep, you'll find that on March 20th.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Calendar's approved.
Madam President, if I may, just a informational question from the superintendent. I'm wondering if there would be appetite by the board to approve calendars 2 years in advance. This is not an uncommon practice. It's something that many school districts do. In my tenure at my previous district, we changed from doing them one at a time to doing them 2 years in advance. It's especially helpful for people booking long-term vacations. It's especially helpful for us as we hopefully continue our partnership with CCSU about using the Welty Auditorium for convocation. Thank you. So we don't have it yet developed, but I wanted to ask the question if there would be any opposition on the board to considering that. We could probably bring that back to you at a meeting in the near future with a proposal for the, scary to say it, 26, 27 school year.
You're jinxing the weather by doing that.
All blizzards.
Any discussion, questions,
No, I think
comments,
it's a good
concerns?
idea to start planning.
It sounds like that's
Okay, the
Good
team
to go.
will start working on that.
awesome.
My quick question too is I'm looking over the calendar. You have special observance days. Just wondering if there's any kind of activities at the high school about some of these events. Mostly they're religious, but is there any kind of certain activities with some of the groups?
I'm not sure of the question.
Well, like for example, I know like LE is on here, but also do any of the students do any kind of activities around these special observances?
So we do have both Muslim and Christian student associations, and in their activities. We do things, for example, Taste of Ramadan is a fully student-initiated and organized event.
Any other questions? Alrighty. Item G, motion to approve the contract between CSDNB and Capital Region, correct, for short, for speech and language services district-wide for $58,000. I know this is an added item for us to discuss right now, so.
Yes, Madam President. So this is a time-sensitive request that came in after the Finance, Facilities, and Transportation meeting. We're asking the board to consider it. The monies are budgeted for already, and it is, as the board knows, a critical need for our students with special needs.
So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we're all good. Any discussion, questions? All
What
those in
account was it
favor?
budgeted out of? Sorry. What account was it budgeted out of, you said? You've already budgeted out for it?
I'm sorry.
Dr. Gasper had said that he had already budgeted out for it.
Sure, it's listed here, local, Series 300.
Thank you.
Bless
Bless you.
Okay, I'll try that again. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're all set. Item H,
Similarly, this is a time-sensitive matter. One of our facilities trucks has broken down. There is a state-listed vendor to do the repair, but it would have been 16 weeks with that vendor. Another vendor who is not on the state list can do the repair much more quickly and for roughly the same price. So we're requesting a bid waiver and a purchase order for this time-sensitive matter as well. And again, this also came in after the FFT committee.
do I have a motion to approve?
So, second.
All right, any discussion, questions?
I just have a question. What year is this? There's nothing that tells me.
Mr. Smedley, how old is the truck?
Oh, this is a
1936?
2016.
This is a 2016 flatbed rack. And the lift gate is what was broken and needs repair.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. All right, consent agenda, any? Yes, sir?
I'd like to remove the social studies curriculum from the consent agenda.
Item A,
Yes.
does anyone have anything else they want to remove from the consent agenda? I would like to ask to remove item M, the financial report. Okay, so item A first, sir?
First I want to apologize for not attending the curriculum committee meeting on there. I should have looked it over. But, I looked over the social studies curriculum, and my two big areas of concern is the civics, first question of the civics curriculum. I'm okay with it in a lot of areas. My question for it is, how many weeks are they spending on each unit? Because is it a full semester course, a full year course? Is it a half semester course?
Half semester. One semester.
It's one semester. So how many weeks are they spending on each unit? Because that's a lot of information to cover in one half a semester.
Ms. Bolke, do you have that information?
Bless you.
But my biggest area of concern, though, in the social studies curriculum, and to the point where I cannot honestly vote for the social studies curriculum, is the New Britain course. I am not impressed at all with the New Britain course. As somebody who has made it a passion on this board for more New Britain history, this New Britain course to me is very disappointing. There's a lot, New Britain has a lot of history in there. I've said it many times in these board meetings. And I look over the units. We have, the Unit 1 talks about the monuments. Unit 2, the factories. Unit 3, the demographics. And Unit 4 the famous New Britain people. But there's no mention about how New Britain has impacted world history. How New Britain, famous events that happened in New Britain history. For example, we were talking even in our discussion right before, during our dinner before, that one of the first times companies offered stocks was here with Stanley Works in New Britain. Postage, and it was one of L.U. Bird, who is not on the list of famous New Britain people. One of the greatest people to come out of New Britain history is not on the list of famous New Brittanites. Was one of the people who advocated for that petty postage, is not on this, is not mentioned. Dribbling, we have a basketball team. Right across the hall here is the gym. Dribbling was invented in New Britain. Not on, nowhere is that mentioned in the curriculum that we covered. The wire hanger was invented by the Northern Jug factory, right across from City Hall. That is not mentioned anywhere in the curriculum here. I see this curriculum extremely lacking. And then when I look over for Unit 4, which is supposed to be famous New Brittanites, where the kids have to go do a research project on famous New Brittanites, the list of suggested people, more than half are within the last 50 years. General Patterson, who came up with the name New Britain, who was one of George Washington's chief aides to camps, is not on this list. L.U. Bird, who I already said, is not on this list. You talk about Black history. Teddy Wilson, who was one of Henny Goodman, a famous jazz performer, who was buried in Fairview Cemetery. I remember when he died, they made a big story about it on Entertainment Tonight that he was from New Britain. They covered it, and he came to tour New Britain, that he died. He's not on this list. There was, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the guy who invented the term, the greatest show on earth, who was P.T. Barnum's advance man. He's not on this list. So there's a lot, so this curriculum is very lacking in New Britain history. It's basically a quick overview, like we have to get this done, we have to have a New Britain course, let's get this done. So as a whole,
if I may, Mr. Kane, that's disrespectful to the staff.
sorry, I'm sorry, but just,
The staff put a lot of work into this.
That's not taken away from their work.
Well, the term that Mr. Kane just used, I believe, is disrespectful to staff.
so I apologize on that, just that very, there could have been more information that could have been in this list.
Can I just,
Yes.
it's not making a comment about anybody in particular, just making about the, and sticking to the work itself. I can just tell you that when they first said that they were covering monuments, I'm quite transparent about pointing out the window when we are at our downtown offices in our little horseshoe there. And you will hear me say often, again, not about anybody living, but that my uncle, whose name appears on the monument right outside of the window, was one of the first New Britain sons to be lost in the Vietnam War. And I point to it, usually like this, because I have to turn around based on where I'm sitting. So now, not trying to sound exaggerated or anything, I'm over here, still doing like this. My kid is, and then my kid is the one that I'm asking questions about because she is actually in the class and I've asked her questions about it and I've asked her peers questions about it. I myself was disappointed. I'm just saying that I'm just using that as one example of where I was like, wait a minute, something isn't right. I don't know how to make it better, but we need to kind of revisit that particular program. And sometimes when it's new, you kind of need to check it out, see how it goes and test out things and, see what feedback you're getting. But what I've been told often is that maybe it's her disability, that why she can't articulate, that she doesn't understand. No. She speaks just fine. And I ask my kids often about what they're learning because we discuss things at the dinner table every single night, with the exception of the nights I have Board of Ed meetings. She has no clue about the monuments. She has no clue about anything in New Britain history. She's in that class. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Well, I will say I agree. There is some history that's lacking on the curriculum that, as Tony mentioned, should be added, especially particularly some of the people he mentioned. So, I agree with that point.
Sometimes you gotta try it out. What's gonna work, what's not gonna work. what our kids gonna gravitate to.
Okay, so at this point, the item would be up for a vote of the board, unless there's any other action that's being requested, but to move the curriculum ahead. So, in order to do that, we'd need a motion to approve the curriculum.
I move to approve the curriculum for social studies, grades 6 to 12.
Anybody?
Second.
It's been seconded. Any other additional conversation?
Just point of clarification. So this would take part next year?
That's
If we
correct.
if we send it back to committee, we can work on it and maybe not have this vote tonight? If there's members that are in agreement that we can make some additions?
I think we should make some additions, take it off, make the additions that, you know, at least some of the people that were mentioned that have a great part of history here and
Should be considered.
throughout the country should be considered to be added. So I think we should put it off until that gets added.
Point of clarification, are we only talking about the New Britain History, the one course?
Yes.
Or are we talking about the entire curriculum?
I think the one course, the one course.
I'm sorry, again?
New Britain course,
The history course?
New Britain history course, yeah.
Okay, so at this point, we have a motion on the table and seconded. That would either need to be rescinded or amended.
I can rescind. the
Okay,
motion.
that's rescinded. New motion on the table to approve curriculum minus the New Britain history piece. Does that cause issue?
Nope.
So moved.
Who said no?
Second.
Sec-
Okay. Any other additional conversation?
No, just now when she asked.
All those in-
I have a question, just real quick.
Sure.
I was trying to think how to articulate this before I asked it. So this is not, just a consideration. I mean, having written curriculum before, a couple things to take into consideration is and yeah, I mean, we could always, I'm in agreement, like maybe, you know, if we really want to zhuzh it up with the New Britain stuff, that's fine. But we also have to, zhuzh it, bring it up to
No, I like zhuzh.
the level of
I like zhuzh.
palatability that folks want.
Rather
But
Put some
one thing we
sequence
also
on
have to
it.
understand is that process mirrors sort of the same process for the other parts of the curriculum where, you know, there's standards here, my friends, that have to also be like met, you know, like in terms of what the other, I would think that we would want that class to sort of meet certain standards, just like all the other history classes and social, you know, whatever other classes are in that continuum. You know, so, I mean, I get it, details matter, but we also don't want to lose sight of the fact that, and yes, teachers' time's valuable, and yes, it's going to take some, you know, recircling and some other things, but I would just ask people to understand that, you know, make sure the ask is clear so that folks don't end up doing redundant work all over again, right? Because this is people's hours that they put into it, probably off the clock, most likely, if I know how things worked in the past and work still. So, you know, just some consideration to that. I mean, clearly, we could always add some more detail to the class. I think it's important. You know, I would also just say, I was not here for that either. I just hope it's balanced in terms of its equity, and yes, I'm gonna use that word, because no one can tell me I can't. And just, you know, those considerations as well, like, you know, in terms of the multitude of people that we all want to be included in this list. But also a little, you know, consideration for the fact that a few teachers are probably gonna be doing this on their own time, in their own dime, most likely. So just something to think about.
But I also consider that it's the students that I want to make sure understand the New Britain history.
No
And I'm
problem.
completely in agreement exactly what you said, because oftentimes this is what happens where we end up doing the behind the scenes work on our own time. Just really it. But I know that we are, by approving some, but allowing this to be a standalone, to be able to just get reworked, would allow it the time that it needs to, and then be able to revisit it. And I just feel bad that my kid doesn't understand about monuments.
Okay.
I just, one thing.
Yes.
sorry. I understand there's some people missing on here, but how much are they expected to cover? Because there is a limit as to how much you can do
It's a half
within
your
that
class.
timeframe.
So that, Ms.
what-
Parker, that was going to be my request
Yeah.
of, if the board would like to see revisions, I would prefer that those are funneled through the board president to me. If the board wants to honor Mr. Kane's suggestions, we also need to know if this is going to stay a half-year course.
That's the problem.
And changing it from a half-year to a full-year course has substantial impingements on the master schedule and how many kids will be able to access the course.
This could remain a half year, just that, this little tweaking of it.
Well, respectfully, sir, I would say with the quantity of content that you're requesting be added, I would say that would be very difficult.
I didn't hear him
Well, we
asking
could-
for the content. What I heard him was pointing out a multitude of items that could have been touched on that were not. I didn't hear him say that this is what needed to be added. Respectfully, not just saying.
And to Dr. Gasper's point, any requests for specific changes, send them to me. I will forward them on and we will address them and then can be assessed as to what impact timing-wise and whatever that may or may not have. That'll end up going back to committee to be discussed. And hopefully you'll attend that meeting, sir, even though it's not your committee.
I'll attend it.
Got it. Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion on the table to approve the curriculum for social studies 6 through 12 minus the New Britain history course. That has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on. Okay. Item M. I have some questions, had some questions from Ms. Alfano, who's not here, but I will ask those of her later on. But does anybody else have anything else on M since it's been removed? Okay. All those in favor on the financial report?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. 2. Team. Okay. Now for the rest of the consent agenda. Motion to approve the remaining items of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So I need a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing 2 matters pending litigation with Attorney Dyken. I saw you, yes, sir. And requesting Attorney Dyken, the board, Ms. Manning, and Dr. Gasper to
Motion.
join us. Motion, second, all approve, or all in favor?
Aye.
So at this point, I will entertain a motion to settle the case of Aviles Vargas for $9,500.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now I will entertain a motion to approve the case for Velasquez Sanchez for
Motion.
$15,000.
So second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All righty.
Thank you.
No problem.
you,
Have
sir.
a good night.
Thank you.
See you next week.
God, no offense, I hope not. All righty, closing and adjournment. Any other business as permitted by law?
Nothing today.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Thank you, everyone.